Hey, this is an extreme close-up video because I feel like it calls for it. What I wanted to say, nobody can tell me if I was a real Christian or not. Nobody can sit and judgment and tell me that my experience was any less than their experience, or that my experience was lacking in some way, just because down the road, after going over 35 years, walking the walk as best I could, telling me that none of it was real, just because I came to finally face the questions that I had ignored all that time, and actually face those questions down, because I needed to know what was real. I needed to know what was real. I needed to stop putting my belief in things that didn't ring true. And Christianity, I'm sorry, it doesn't ring true. And people who come onto my channel and tell me, sit in judgment of me because I went through and still am going through depression, like, oh, I must never have been a real Christian because I would never have fallen away. You know what? 5 years ago I was there, I was in that position. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was in that position. I knew I couldn't even conceive of ever falling away, ever. It wasn't even remotely possible. Never in a million years would I ever, because I had a relationship, I had a good friend. And somebody who comes along and doesn't know me, and doesn't know that relationship, and doesn't know what I went through and what it took for me to finally realize that it was all in my head, has no right to come to my page and belittle me and make less of what I went through and say, oh, well, yours wasn't a real experience. And your Christianity, you might have gone to church, or you might have listened to the gospel, and you might have tried to live it, but it wasn't real, because it's like a physical birth. Once you're born, you can't go back in the womb. Well, same thing with second birth. It's like, no, I'm sorry, not true. If you believe in something and you discover after most of your life of believing in something that it's a lie, and all it takes, I'm sorry, is to look at those questions in the face them down, research who wrote the Bible, research when it was written, research who put it together. No, a fiery hand of God did not come down to earth and hover above a piece of paper and write words. Somebody didn't suddenly get touched by God and start writing words. These words have gone through revision after revision after revision, and now I hear that they're putting 10 texts into the current New Testament, the Bible for the 21st century. They're putting in 10 texts into the New Testament that were originally rejected by the church. Now they've decided they're going to put them in. Well, this is just a small sampling of how the entire history of the Bible is. Human beings who decide on a whim, well, it's not working enough the way it is. Let's do something else to it. Let's tweak it this way. Let's add more to it. I believe there's a verse right in the Bible that says something along the lines of, nobody should add to or take away even one word. And yet, what do they do? What have they been doing since the very inception of the Bible? So, I'm sorry, it's a man-made thing, it's a man-made belief, and until you can prove there's a God, it's impossible for me to believe it, but that does not mean that for the better half of my life, or maybe I should say the worst half, I did not believe it wholeheartedly. I did too have Jesus in my heart. I got on my knees. I said the prayer. I had tears streaming down my face at the Billy Graham crusade. It gave me the motivation to reconstruct my life. All the life-changing stuff that, it happened. So please don't say, well, your conversion was not real. You were not a real Christian. Anybody who does that, who sits in judgment of somebody else without knowing their heart and knowing their history and knowing what they go through, saying, oh, there's no such thing as an atheist. There's no such thing as somebody who doesn't believe in God. Nobody can tell another person what they believe and what they don't believe. People are complex people. You can't look at them and say, oh, I know all about you. You went through this. You were just pretending. You don't know. A lot of times people don't even know themselves what drives them. So just wanted to say, I'm speaking specifically to somebody who actually had the nerve to tell me that I wasn't real. You know what I'd like to say to this person? How do you know you're not real? Because trust me, I was just as convinced that I was a real Christian as you think you are now. So how do you know you're not real right now? Or how do you know that you are real right now? You could be fake. You could be wasting your time right now living the life of a Christian, but you're not really a Christian. Think about it. Catch you later. I gotta turn this off.